you are. You're trying to find a different spot or what?
Yeah, it's really bad. Like I keep cutting in and out, and then I'm blocked from going live because I don't know.
So yeah, that's the logo, CERN. So now, according to a lot of people, the CERN logo says 666 on it. Do with that information, I guess, what you will, decipher it how you want, but that has been a big thing regarding CERN, along with symbology that is around. Well, the building is huge, it's humongous where all this is at, but they got like a whole statue and stuff of Shiva, which is the Hindu god of destruction, which is not good. I don't know why you would want to have something that symbolizes destruction where you are messing around with particles that are potentially nuclear and harmful to that degree. So their symbology here at CERN is a big issue. If you understand symbology, you know what to look for. CERN in itself, the whole Large Hadron Collider is about 17 miles long. As far as I know, it's like half in France and half in Switzerland. Underground, about like it's far down.
Deep. It's deep.
Yeah, it's
really
deep. It's really deep. And of course, they always have these little bases and stuff that are deep underground for some reason. They really love being underground. So another thing I came across too regarding them was that apparently, and this is apparently, I haven't looked into it too much because I didn't even really believe it, but apparently CERN had founded the World Wide Web, which is AKA WWW. So something to look into.
Tim Berners-Lee is the name of the scientist from CERN that so-called founded the internet.
Okay. So, yeah, apparently, I mean, I guess we have to really dig into see what the facts are behind that. But if that's the case, obviously, you know, a lot of people don't know that they've been around for a while. Maybe like the 40s or the 50s, I think, is when they first kind of came into prominence to a degree.
51.
1951.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so you're really just hearing about them now, but their goal has always kind of been the same. And so a couple of other little notes are that it's made up of 20 European member states with the CERN Council as its highest authority. And a lot of these places, I think we talked about this when we talked about like the Federal Reserve and all this when we're going into Pale Horse, was like, who's in control of what really? And we never really know that. If you're not really paying attention, you never really know who's in control, who has the highest authority and power of some of these places. Why are they even allowed to do what they're allowed to do? Now, CERN seems to be one of these. It is the largest laboratory of its kind, which there's another place that's not too far from it called ITER, ITER, capitals. And they're kind of among the same type of goal, but CERN, I think, is just a little bit more known. The facility constructs experiments through the use of particle acceleration and detectors. Now, that's when you start to get a little bit more scientific. So this is all like research that you guys can do on your own, which of course I suggest that everybody does. Don't just take the information from me, Google, or whatever the fuck else. But when you do start to go into this stuff, right, you need to start looking into what particles are. What are particles? What is matter? What is antimatter? What is dark matter? What are all these things? So I have a couple of stuff that I got off of Google. Of course, you guys know I love to use Google because Google likes to call everybody a conspiracy theorist, but you can't call me a conspiracy theorist when I use your own shit against you. So what we want to look into. First of all, like we said, where CERN is in Geneva, Switzerland. If you guys don't know, there's a lot of things that happen in Switzerland. We have these Swiss banks that operate out of Switzerland. We have Davos, the meetings that, of course, all these elites that nobody voted for, they end up there. Something about Switzerland that these people love. So just look into Switzerland
too.
Yes. Also, the tunnel where CERN is operating all this stuff is 100 meters down, underground. So it's on the Franco-Swiss border near Geneva. Now, if you guys look on Google Maps and you guys look at ITER or CERN, ITER, they will literally block the whole thing. You can't see it at all. You can't do street view. If you do above head view, it's going to be pixelated. So there's no way you can see what the hell is there, what's going on there at all. So that's fun. There's stuff there that they don't want you to see. Now, of course, if you don't have anything to hide, then leave the shit wide open. Another thing is, of course, we like to stick to facts. We like to stick to things that you can prove, the things that are obvious, basic for, you know, the dumbed down people. So there's a lot of talk about CERN and then opening portals, summoning demons and all this other shit.
Oh
I
my
think we
God.
all probably know for the most part that like majority of these people are devil worshippers. They go completely against God. They want to be God, so they do the opposite of things that are nature and natural. But when it comes to like the CERN stuff, I don't think a lot of people really know what the hell goes on there. So all you have to go on is what they're telling you and putting on their website or in their videos and that type of information. So you look into particles, you look into particle acceleration, you can then come across the fact that black holes, can black holes be created by doing this? What can be created by accelerating particles? So this is some stuff that you can look up and find out for yourself. So can a particle accelerator, which is what CERN is, create a black hole? It says, although the standard model of particle physics predicts that the energies are far too low to create black holes, some extensions of the standard model posit the existence of extraspatial dimensions. So now we're talking about dimensions, in which it would be possible to create micro black holes at the LHC at a rate of the order of 1 per second. So that's kind of their roundabout way of saying, yes, we can do that. And also when it comes to dimensions, you're messing with dimensional space. So this is all stuff that colliding particles can do. So you just want to look at the possibility of something. If you don't believe it, just ask what the possibility is. Great example. A lot of people watch these movies with serial killers and people going around murdering people. So there may not be a Michael Myers, but the possibility that someone's going to go around and kill a bunch of people exists. So with this stuff, there may not be all this stuff that you see everywhere that is necessarily opening dimensions and demons and all this other stuff, but is there a possibility? Yes. Do particle accelerators exist? Duh, CERN is one of them, but a lot of people don't know that there's a shit ton of them. So there are currently more than 30,000 accelerators in operation around the world. There are two basic classes of accelerators: electrostatic and electrodynamic accelerators. Electrostatic particle accelerators use static electric fields to accelerate particles. And I think on a smaller degree, when you look into like things like HARP and messing around with weather, this also has to do with particles and all this stuff. I mean, we have particles and all these types of things that are in the air. We talked about nanoparticles when we did Truth Presented. So there's a lot of stuff revolving around particles and all the stuff that they're messing with. And that can also affect weather. So when you have this extreme weather and they're over here talking about climate change, once again, think of the fact that, is it a possibility that you can change the weather? Yes. Is there a possibility that you can mess with particles and mess up the natural order of things? Yes, it is a possibility. So with CERN, they have possibilities, and things like CERN, they have possibilities to do stuff like this. Then you go into the God particle. This is something else that I hear a lot, and you'll probably hear a lot if you look into CERN and what people talk about.
That's what they
So,
that's what they shout out this LHC right now is their
God
research
particle,
into the God particle. So
yeah, which of course they don't need to be doing anyway, but you know, once again, these are people that they go against God and they want to be gods. They don't want to die. They want to live forever, which is why we never see somebody like Hillary Clinton. We never hear anything bad about anything that happens to her. You know what I mean? Or nothing. These people we don't know what the hell they're really, doing behind closed doors. The Higgs boson is the fundamental particle associated with the Higgs field, which is a field that gives mass to other fundamental particles, such as electrons and quarks. A particle's mass determines how much it resists changing its speed or position when it encounters a force. Not all fundamental particles have mass. So that is the Higgs boson, which they've found to be the God particle. And I'll just say this, is much like, as normal people that go about their day, that are really just trying to live life, discover themselves, you know, and like live a prosperous life without having to deal or wonder, like, how the fuck does the universe, you know, create itself, you know, or whatever. Like, these people are fucking lunatics. If you've ever seen movies with mad scientists, which is why they call them mad scientists, doing some crazy ass shit, is because this is exactly what these people delve into. And this is why a facility like this is 100 meters underground, because it's not on the surface where you can openly see them do any of this shit, because all the things that they do is behind closed doors for a reason. Which gets to our next point. They have an article on their website that is their title of it is "Breaking New Ground in the Search for Dark Matter." If you guys look up dark matter and dangers, or dangers of dark matter, any of this is the shit that they want to play with. And this is the stuff that they're playing with. And I believe this is why you hear a lot of the talk about demons and portals and dimensions and all this, is because you're dealing with something that is anti-matter. Anything that is anti-normal or natural is against nature, as we went over. And the Truth Presented, and if you guys haven't watched that, that's only on Rumble, because YouTube, of course, will not allow truth on that platform at all. That's when I went over with Blanche, and we went over ionizing radiation in that video. And here, when it comes to particle accelerators, which is what CERN is, it talks about this, ionizing radiation. So whenever you see ionizing radiation, you should be alarmed, because ionizing radiation, that is a harmful, well, that technically is the harmful radiation. It's ionized. When something's ionized, it's not good for you. So what this says about particle accelerators, which is like at CERN, that they can pose hazards. And they emit ionizing radiation while they are operating and can produce radioactive waste. However, regulations and good safety practices ensure that workers and the public are protected when particle accelerators are running.
When was the last time CERN was turned on? 2019, right? The end
Yeah.
of 2019. Y'all know what happened at the end of 2019.
When I did the video and I presented the evidence, and it was all of these things. We talked about nanoparticles. We talked about ionizing radiation. I just came across something before we had started the live up that was talking about how powerful of the radiation that this stuff puts off. And it was talking about, 2000 GY, which if people don't know what that is, that's a gray unit, which is like a measure of radiation.
Yeah.
When was the last time CERN was activated? It was like, sure enough, 3 years ago. So one thing that people are talking about in terms of the repercussions of what they just did is seeing shifts in time, seeing different timelines play out, or coming across these different timelines, seeing time kind of speed up a little bit, I guess, in a sense, to a degree, opening of portals, people acting abnormal, just it's kind of just like a little rift, and also a shift to a degree from doing what they did, messing with stuff that I don't want to say it's a big part of universal creation, to a sense, I guess. For an example, us as humans are matter. That gets into antimatter and dark matter and all this stuff, which is what they're trying to chime into. And so if you look up why is dark matter so dangerous, because due to that article, that's what they're saying that they're trying to, find and harness or whatever, which that shit just sounds like a Marvel movie evil villain plot, to be honest. So dark matter, because WIMPs don't have strong effects on normal matter, collisions inside the human body shouldn't pose much danger. But when WIMPs collide with each other, their annihilation is a much more energetic reaction. Say they each weigh 100 times the mass of a proton you don't want basically a dark matter substance to collide with something that is normal matter, basically, is what we get to in the point of that post. Is that when you have that, then you have something that is destructive. And so if you're looking at that and you go, why the hell would somebody want something that is destructive to go with something that is non-destructive, which would technically be us as normal matter? So then they can do whatever the fuck they want. And if people don't know, the antimatter, this type of stuff is used for nuclear bombs. This is where they get this type of technology from.
They created
So
anti-hydrogen too at CERN.
exactly. It's all, everything is like a little grasp for more power is really what it seems like. So imagine these motherfuckers can harness dark matter and antimatter like that.
What else
And
would they
then,
what else would they harness too?
well, they would have control over it, over everything. It would be, you would have diseases like no other. You'd have all kinds of stuff if you knew how to, you know, utilize that with the human body to a degree. It's probably what half we see. I mean, we know a lot of this stuff is radiation as it is. Bree, you've been gone for a minute.
Sorry.
Check this out. So a gram of antimatter, a gram, could produce an explosion the size of a nuclear bomb, which was what we just went over. However, humans have produced only a minuscule amount of antimatter. All of the antiprotons created at Fermilab's Tevatron particle accelerator add up to only 15 nanograms. Those made at CERN amount to about 1 nanogram. So that's, of course, them trying to cover their tracks and say, like, yeah, it's not that bad. But it is bad. If you're going to tell me a gram of antimatter could produce an explosion the size of a nuclear bomb, that's a problem. Another key thing, too, is Stephen Hawking talked about this. He had talked about CERN and what they were doing there. And he said, the elusive God particle discovered by scientists in 2012 has the potential to destroy the universe. Famed British physicist Stephen Hawking has warned, according to Hawking, who was 72 at the time, at very high energy levels, the Higgs boson, which gives shape and size to everything that exists, could become unstable. But of course it could become unstable because it's something that they don't even know about. They even admit, they're like, yeah, this is not something that we've done before. They're going to ramp up the power to levels they've never done before. So basically, in a sense, you're opening Pandora's box without knowing a way to close it. And you really can't. Once Pandora's box is open, then whatever happens, happens at that point. To a dumb, this is like CERN for dummies right now, I feel like, in a sense. Without getting too scientifical and without getting too overboard with what people think is going to happen or what is happening, these are just some of the facts that are laid out that can kind of give you a template to go look for yourself, like at whatever you're interested in terms of opening portals and all this type of stuff. The main question is it possible? Is it possible that this stuff can happen? Is it possible that they have the ability to do all this? And yes, it's possible. That doesn't mean that they're doing it necessarily, but just take the fact that these people go against God. A lot of them are devil worshippers. A lot of them are fucking lunatics. They do stuff like this in the sense of they are trying to be gods themselves. They want to control everything and everybody. That it is a strong possibility that they could be doing all of this behind the scenes. And a lot of stuff is covering up for them. Now, not even just to mention the money aspect of stuff. If you follow the money, who funds them and all this. Of course, Rockefellers are involved. They fund every fucking evil thing on this planet. So, yeah, they're involved to a degree, too. And anything the Rockefellers or Rothschilds touch, you know, is not going to be good for humanity. So those are just a couple of quick things regarding CERN that you can look up yourself. And I suggest you do that.
I don't believe people should be out here running around thinking that they created black holes already and they have all this type of shit that they're ready to destroy our fucking planet with. Because, like I posted earlier, I said, do y'all really think they have created a black hole already and lived to tell the tale? No. So, y'all can relax about, oh, you know, all this shit is happening. They're harvesting your energy right now. See, when they put something out into the media and they have this narrative behind it, we got to start catching on to that shit and realize, like, okay, it's something way deeper than this. Because just how he's breaking out all that shit about CERN and how it's 100 meters down, which is all true. If they're really about to do this shit, why would they tell us? If they're about to go into something that is this life threatening, why would they come and feel so comfortable to tell the masses, and then let alone have a live stream to show y'all how this shit works when we don't even know exactly how this shit works underground, what measurements and materials that they're using for these experiments. So you want to know how we're getting this shit? Ironically, Stranger Things comes out. He mentioned Stephen Hawkins. What school do they go to at Stranger Things? Hawkins.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we're talking about portals. Why do you start thinking about portals now? Stranger Things has portals in it with demons coming out of the motherfucker. So of course you're gonna sit there and be like, oh shit, this is exactly what's happening to us. No, this is all a distraction because they don't want you to really know the fucking shit that they're doing in these labs. That's why they give us all this bullshit on the TV, on the media, because they're trying to feed us this bullshit while they constantly create their master plan. So my idea of why they told us is because they're harvesting our energy to use. Because if you really look at some of the experiments, they're using human beings at CERN and testing their brain particles. What the fuck are you going to be doing that for? And he mentioned 5G. I know you got that other that link that I sent you, because they're already doing experiments on 6G. And guess where they're having the experiments happen? Switzerland. Come on, man. Y'all think this shit, like, yeah, they brought in 5G, but you don't think they're already on 6G? Let's think, people. We knew 5G wasn't it. This is just the tip of the iceberg for what the shit they have, like, planned. And as far as all these particles and shit, it makes sense that they're connecting this shit because what's in the mass, what's in the all this other shit, right? Particles, nanoparticles. So they're already getting us ready to be their fucking human experiments. Did y'all know by 2030 they said that cell phones will be extinct? They said there will be no more uses for electronic devices, cellular devices. Why do you think they're telling you that? Because they want to put that shit right here. They want to put that shit all in your brain. So when you're talking about Elon Musk and all these people, this is the shit they're doing. They're trying to find the most gullible people to run these tests on because they know how dangerous it is. They would never put themselves at risk. So that's why when I was hearing people saying, "Oh, they created black holes already," I'm like, where is it? And how does that happen without the masses knowing? Because last time I checked, something like that, a black hole, sucks all the energy around it and it feeds it. And that's including like Earth, right? They talking about black holes that are close to Earth. It's supposed to swallow the whole universe. So I want y'all to think about it like that. If they are creating these little black holes and they think and they got us to the point of thinking like, damn, well, if they created a black hole, now they're going to be summoning demons. These motherfuckers wouldn't even be alive to tell you that. They would not exist after that. So I just want you to understand this. If you really think that, okay, they're going to Switzerland, they're running all these tests, and they have mastered the manipulation of matter, why isn't all this shit happening already? Why aren't they already controlling us with other shit, right? You see it happening in society, but y'all got to understand that you're under a mass manipulation. They're manipulating us. This is common sense, brother. You can go and look up this shit. The shit I'm talking about is shit that you can see with your eyes. You're talking about all these dimensions and all that shit. You're getting this shit off of TV and shows. You have never seen a dimension yourself. So kill that noise, please. You've never seen no dimensions, bro. Y'all ain't time traveling. Y'all ain't doing none of that shit. So I don't want to hear it. Y'all can say whatever y'all want. The facts are the facts. So these motherfuckers, y'all really think is going to show you guys how all their operations are ran. Come on, man. And you know who's funding them. It's all a distraction. Just like he mentioned, the FBI and all this other shit. There's so much bullshit happening in the world right now. It's called energy harvesting. This is why we talked about silent weapons for quiet wars. And I told people to read that book. Because once you read that book, a lot of this shit makes sense. And you don't even have to listen to what I'm saying because it's self-explanatory. So, you know what I'm saying? If you really feel like, okay, this is about to be the end of the world because CERN turned back on their fucking machines, the LAC, bruh, they've been having the LAC on since like 2012. They've been running experiments for years. Did you not know that until now? Majority of you did. So kill that shit, bro. You can say whatever you want, but the facts are the facts. And that's how I feel about it. That's my take on it. I'm not sitting here like debunking the whole thing like, oh, it's all bullshit. But the shit that they got out in the masses is bullshit. And it's shaped, and the shit that you see on TV is shaping your reality one way or another. Whether you want to acknowledge that and face that fact or not, that's just the truth. Like Hollywood is the number one mass psychosis that you can say that happens to humans. We watch something on TV and we visualize it back in our brains and we start thinking, oh, this is how this happened. You can even go back to slavery and all that shit. You start thinking, oh, because I saw this on a movie, this is probably how it happened back then. And that's not fucking true. That's somebody controlling a narrative and feeding you bullshit. So I'm telling y'all people is to dig deep and think. That's all I'm telling you. And that's it.
Honestly, I don't understand the big deal about CERN. It's just me personally. I'm not trying to take shots at anybody. I just personally look at it like I'm a big believer in the Word of God. I don't call myself a Christian, but I do believe in the things of God in the Bible. I just think that we would have been aware of some of this stuff that's taking place if it's truly going to happen. That's all that I'm going to say. Now, if people want to believe in CERN and they want to believe that the demons are about to come through and all that, I mean, I'm all for it. I just personally didn't get into it because I was like, this doesn't even line up with end time scriptures. So to me, it just sounded so weird. And I don't know why people are going back and forth on it. Like, we have bigger fish to fry. Our government is corrupt. They're trying to force feed you a jab that they know is going to kill you. They just approved a jab that is going to go from 6 to 5 years old, and they're going to make sure it gets into the arms of millions of children. Like, why are we worried about CERN? I mean, if anything, we should all be making sure that our souls are right in the first place. So if CERN really does take place, guess what? You're good. It really does not matter. You're good to
And it ain't
go.
shit they could do, Bree. What are we gonna do?
Right.
What we gonna do with that big ass machine? What defense do you have against that?
The
How are
Bible
you gonna
tells
stop
us
that?
exactly, and the Bible tells us to make ourselves ready, that we should be prepared at all times. Because what if we walk outside of our door and we get hit by a car, right? Like, we should be ready at all times. So if these demons are really coming out of their portal and they're going to eat all of us alive, I mean, it's just our time. It's your time. It's my time. It's all of our time. I mean, we just need to make ourselves ready for Jesus, okay?
That part. That
Yep.
part.
Yeah, you pretty much summed it up really well. Like that was really my whole point of really doing this live is that you just hear a bunch of shit about CERN and all this stuff. Like I said, dimensions and portals and demons. Oh my! And it's like, what you want to look at, is there a possibility that they can do some of this stuff? Yes. Are they doing it? Probably not. Who knows? I don't know. We don't know that. I can't prove that to you. I'm not there. And there's not a lot of information you can probably find on it. But is that something that we should be worrying about right now? Not really. I don't think so. Not at all. I think I agree with you. It's your soul is what matters. And we know a lot of these people today, celebrities, politicians, all, and they either have no soul, sold their soul, whatever. But at the end of the day, I don't feel like that's something that's needs to be on our minds that much. Really, probably at all, because like you said too, LJ, is there's not really anything that we can really do about that. Like, we're not going. When's the last time you've been 100 meters down underground? You know what I mean? So I don't know.
And
It just
when
doesn't.
when does science push the limit without knowing some type of control system? Like they're not going to put themselves directly in a line of fire if they know that shit is going to completely blow back on them personally. That's also what I want people to understand is like, y'all really think they created black holes and portals already? Okay, let's just use the Stranger Thing for a minute. When they did that shit, could they control the fucking monsters?
Nope.
No, no. So you think we would not know about this shit already? This shit wouldn't be all over the internet in these days? Like, come on, bruh. Think. Think. For
And
real.
that's what I'm
Like,
saying. Is I don't want people to be fooled by what they're hearing, or seeing. I've been on Rumble, I've been on BitChute, and I was just like, let me see what other people are saying about CERN. And you're just hearing all this. Look, there's stuff that obviously we don't know, but like I said, you want to stick to things that you could prove, and also things that are on a surface level that are sensible. If you're somebody who's never even like you were kind of talking about, but like let's just say you've never even meditated, you don't even know what it's like to even have a spiritual sensation. What the hell is a demon to you? You know what I mean? Like what is a spirit to you?
motherfuckers
So
do
it's
not
just
have their
like,
spirit right, but they worried all about what CERN is going to do. Motherfucker, go meditate. Go pray. Go ask yourself, what is wrong with me? You over here talking about all this other shit, worrying about everything else except yourself. Like CERN has nothing to do with you, bro. They made money off of a live stream because you motherfuckers waited hours and hours for the world to end.
but
Just
I
like
also don't
in 20,
understand it though.
but
Like
wait, in 2020, y'all said on December 21st, black people was getting superpowers. Where the fuck are the flying motherfuckers at?
I remember that. That's funny.
Like y'all forgot that fast, huh? But I ain't forget that shit. I remember y'all was all walking around December 21st, 2020 is gonna go down and this and that. Y'all better be prepared. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Y'all don't know what y'all talking about.
This
Y'all
was
just
this was a beautiful comment though. It says CERN is controlling everybody right now, and that
perfect.
is
Perfect.
that is perfect, and that's a good point too. Is like I said, I think it's good to be informed, obviously always, but you could be misinformed, and that's why I said sometimes you kind of just got to stay off of a lot of that shit because, like I said, you want to look at, is it even a possibility that this stuff can happen? Yes, it's a possibility. Yes, dealing with particles and all
Anything
this stuff allows it to be able to happen. But can we prove that that is exactly what they're doing? No, we can't.
we
Not
can.
neither one of us on here can prove that.
Yeah, and I just want to say, if people want to, I'm just at a place in my life where for me personally, if people want to believe it, I am all for it. Like you can believe, research, whatever you want to believe. I'm not here to stop anybody from believing what they want to believe, following who they want to follow. So if that is your thing, CERN is your thing, I say go for it. I just think us three on this live are kind of in agreement that really, like I said before, I sound like a broken record, but your soul should be in the right place anyways. So if these demons come out and they just start eating all of us and we get caught up somewhere, I mean, we're ready to go. Like, I just don't understand the big deal about CERN. And this is the reason why I didn't hop on anybody's live stream. I didn't make any comments about it. I just kind of stayed out of it because our world is going through so much, and I feel like this is just really another distraction. And I mean, how does it benefit us? Like, what are we going to do anyways about CERN? Like, really, what are we going to do about it?
To a degree, it's fear mongering if you're telling everybody that they're opening up portals and demons are coming through, and it's like Stranger Things and all that. And like I said, is it a possibility that they can mess with things that they don't need to be messing with and cause things that to happen? Yes, we just went over that. We just went over how 1 gram of antimatter is basically could cause a nuclear bomb. So yes, there's possibilities about a lot of this stuff occurring, but it's like you said, at the end of the day, what are we going to do about it? And I
And
think
it's
that
all hearsay for now. It's just like we can say whatever we want, but I my thing is there's a lot of people out here going hard and making and they got a big following by distracting people with this CERN bullshit. Bless you, Bree. But that's what I'm saying. Like,
Thank you.
people are out here making big ass live streams on YouTube, on Instagram, making this shit a whole big thing because they know it's a fucking money grab, especially for ignorant people. Like, I'm sitting here trying to help y'all individually, like, work on yourself. I'm not sitting there telling you what to do with your life, but to look inward. Stop looking at the CERN shit. The average person is not going to be affected by this CERN shit right now. And I'm just being 100% honest with you. I've been on Club, I've been on Instagram, I've been on Twitter, I've been listening to all the conversations. Nobody knows exactly what the fuck CERN is doing. Everybody's just running their fucking mouth. And that's why I'm just like, hey, look, do what you please. If you believe it, go right ahead. You don't even have to sit here and listen to me. Go somewhere else. But if you really, really want answers, you just need to look within. That's all you can control right now. Because like we said, if the CERN shit was popping off, what are you going to do? You're going to grab your backpack you got your food and grab your bag and run and hit the street. That shit ain't going to work. It's not going to work. Let's just be honest. You can't, if there's demons being summoned out of some portal that we have never experienced or did any research on, what makes you think that we would be able to fight it? And that's why I want people to be like, all right, get out of that Hollywood movie show bullshit and get back to reality. That's why I also tell people to practice discernment and not be so worried about concerning themselves with this bullshit, because you got to be able to decipher, like, okay, why are they showing me this right now? Every June and July, they're harvesting energy. They're making this big ass scene of all this drama for everybody to focus their energy on one area so they can harvest it for their own doings. And that's what I want people to realize. This is just the point of why they do this every fucking summer, every year. It's always some shit. Just like on the 4th of July. How was it ironic that, we got these mass shootings? They're harvesting all that energy. They put all this shit in place. It's all a fucking distraction from you. They're distracting you from you. They want you to be worried about all this other shit except for here. And that's why I'm telling you, focus here, and all that other shit is going to figure itself out. And you're going to be able to be like, nah, I don't really relate to that. Y'all can have that. Because I've been watching people spend days now talking about this shit. And 4 o'clock, July 5th is the day. It's the day. I've been waiting all motherfucking day, bro. I ain't seen shit happen. The craziest shit I've heard today is that R. Kelly broke out of prison. That's the craziest shit I heard today. That's the craziest shit I heard today. The craziest shit I heard today was R. Kelly broke out of prison, if y'all didn't know. Yes, R.
Can
Kelly
I say
broke out of
something
prison.
really quick? I mean,
Of course.
I do think that something is coming. Don't get me wrong, especially with all these jobs. I definitely believe something is coming, and this is the reason why they're setting us up with all this transgender to get you used to transhumanism. But it's not going to come from where people think. People are like, look at over here, we have CERN over here. And really, they're getting ready to transition all these freaking people from the jab. That's really what's about to happen. So if you guys are worried about any portals that are about to be opened up, just rest assured that in 2019, 2020, whenever they did Operation Warp Speed, that's when all these portals were opened up. Like, there's no doubt in my mind about that. I'm just saying. I mean, we're looking over here and they have us so distracted. And like I said, we have these big fish right here to fry, and they're huge. Like, I do think something is coming to America. I don't want to underestimate anything. And there has been an enemy, and there has been demons that have been unleashed in America. They're right there in Washington, D.C. They're right there, guys. I mean, we've seen it for the last 2-3 years, what's going on right in front of us, and they have our minds. And like I said, I don't want to downplay anybody's, whatever, but listen, guys, if you want to know where it's coming from, that is where it's coming from. Look at Operation Warp Speed. It's right there in front of us. We don't have to guess when this stuff is going to happen. It's already been happening for us.
Absolutely.
Well said.
Absolutely.
More stuff is definitely coming. I mean, I normally like to give the analogy of what's happening in this country as a detox. Like when you are detoxing your body because you're getting all of this shit outside of you that was inside of you. And so you're feeling pains, you're feeling, you're obviously you're feeling sick before you can feel better because it's the process of getting it outside of your body. So with what's going on now is it's like, yeah, it's obviously going to get worse. So much shit is getting exposed. These people are getting exposed. People are waking up. And let me tell you that if you were manipulating somebody, would you want them waking up to the fact that you're doing it? No. So if they are slowly but surely waking up, you're going to just try to do more and more and more of the, oh, no, I'm not doing that. No, it's okay. You're all right. So what is happening is a whole detox of not just the country, but really the planet. And that's why this is a global thing. And they're doing pretty much everything they possibly can. And I just think that had CERN be that number one thing where everybody's worried about, it's like, why not just use that from the start? Why not just use that from the start instead of all of this extra other shit that is happening all around the world?
And you know what's so crazy about it? And this has been my perspective. When all this stuff came to light, I think that was really a grace period for us all, right? It was a grace period for us to look at the world and say, you know what, something is going on here, and for us to get our souls right. If any time was the time to be prepared, it was then. And even now, you still have a grace period. Think about it. All the stuff that they're saying is going to happen, the end of the world, this portals opening up, none of this stuff has happened. I think what we saw in the beginning of 2019, when we saw
Yep.
all this, I think that was a fair warning for all of us to say, you know what, maybe I need to change some things in my life, my eating habits, not exercising, my spiritual life, all these things. Like we have time. Like I'm not a lot of time, but that was the time to say, hey, you know what, I need to wake the heck up. Not now, not CERN. Like our mind should have already been open to this stuff.
And to touch on what Bree is saying, right? To veggie back on that. Do you guys not think that they want to feed you conspiracy theorists to go off the edge mentally? Really? Y'all don't think they're hip to all the shit that's been floating out in the air, and they don't think of ways to manipulate that shit for their own advantage? That's what led you to CERN in the first place. It's because people are believing all this shit that they see and not doing their own research and practicing self knowledge to where they can be able to discern, like, is this really something I should be worried about right now? Or are they just throwing a hook out and trying to hook me in so they can distract me from what's really happening? That's something that everybody needs to ask themselves. Because my whole thing is, if I'm planning complete domination, why would I put a live stream out for y'all to see that shit? That's why I want y'all to understand. If CERN is supposed to be doing all this evil shit, they would not be live streaming it for you to see. Because if they're about to open up a portal, that can be the scariest shit for them alone, let alone the masses for us to watch. You gotta be able to see these motherfuckers open the portal and not know what the fuck can happen to them. That could be traumatizing. So I just want people to really think about that in that way too. Like, they're not finna show you all this shit on live stream or in the mass on the mainstream media, because that would be defeating their purpose of keeping the secrecy. All the shit they've been doing for years and years that a lot of people have not known about. All the three previous experiments prior to this that people didn't know about, they would have never even told you about this one. So the fact that we're here now on July 5th, and it's been past 4 o'clock in Switzerland. It's July 6th in Switzerland by now. There's nothing going on, guys. All that shit is worthless bullshit that is distracting you. They
But you
just
know what's so
want you to.
weird, Long Journey? Like people say we're conspiracy theorists and what's to come from all these things that are happening, but they believe CERN. Like that's just so that's just like it's kind of odd to me. Like they showed you CERN and you said yes to that, but then we're conspiracy theorists. We're conspiracy theorists and we're crazy and we don't know what we're talking about, but CERN,
Mm-hmm.
yes, you're okay with. Like what?
This rhetoric about, these what ifs either, because we can all talk about what if. We want to talk about sound advice, tangible advice that people can use in their everyday life, not something that you read about but never experienced for yourself. We got to get out of that. We got to get out of this fairy tale. Like, that's what Hollywood is. Hollywood paints these pictures for you. They want you to visualize things how they want you to visualize it. So when you think about them, you automatically get that visualization from a movie or a show that you watched. And you're going to be like, oh my God, I remember this movie said this, and that. That shit is just driving you fucking crazy. And take it for somebody that used to do that shit all the fucking time. I was that guy. So trust me, y'all. It's just
Once you
about
wake up, you can't go back to sleep, man. I mean, I remember watching The Matrix when I was younger, and I've been awake since I was like 15 years old, and I couldn't comprehend The Matrix until I got older, even though I was awake. It didn't matter. So, yeah, man, you just see things differently the more that your mind opens and expands. And so I just think that that's important that we also watch to what we listen to and who we listen to and what we're, you know what I mean? Get stuff here and there and there and here. And then you're the only one who's really going to know when you look into everything yourself. That's why I think, once again, like it's important that we don't always just get our information here and there. And that's important for this topic with CERN is that, like I said, is it a possibility that they have the means to do all these things? Yes, but are they doing it? Probably not. And so that's where you get a lot of that fear mongering with all these people saying they're doing the demon stuff and all this. And it's just like, you have no proof of that. We have no proof of that. And we have no way of proving that from us. None of us are in Switzerland. None
But
of
can I
us are
say
100 meters
something?
down.
We have Satanists in America that practice rituals every single day. They talk to Satan, they worship Satan. I mean, they do the exact same thing. Like, I'm not even making any of this stuff up. You can go look all this stuff up. They have rituals. They cast demons into certain areas. Like, we go through this stuff every single day. Like, some of them will even tell you, John Ramirez, he's a great person to go look up. You can go look him up, and he'll tell you all about the satanic world and how they sit with Satan every single day to cast different spirits and cities and places of homosexuality, of transgender, of drug addiction. So, I mean, I feel like we're fighting this already every single day. And this is the reason why God literally sent us here to be a light inside of the darkness. So I'm not like very taken back by CERN. And when I hear demons, I mean, it's not scary to me because we're taught that these things indeed are going to happen. Like, they're going to happen. We already live amongst them. We just don't see, I mean, I guess we don't realize that, we're living amongst these things already. It's already here. CERN is here. We're living in it. Like, that's just the reality.
Like I always say, that if they can get you scared of death, they can get you scared of anything. Because, oh, I don't want to die. I'm too young to die. I'm too old to die. This, that, and the third. But have you ever thought that maybe death isn't actually a bad thing? Because it is used as fear tactics. Give me the money or I'll kill you. If you ain't scared of death, you're not scared of shit. My main point is, though, is that it is used as a fear tactic. They're continuing to do the same shit over and over. How many times is it going to be, quote unquote, mass shooting that's supposed to get you scared of guns, apparently? Even though it's not guns that I don't think anybody's scared of. It's you have these fucking lunatics. We already went over this in Behold a Pale Horse or Pale Horse, that this stuff was going to be used to usher in gun control. We already went over this. And so my point is, if you know already, just the same way that you wouldn't be scared of death, but if you know this already, then you can't be fooled by the shit that they're showing you on TV. It's that simple.
Especially that Chicago shit, bro. You can't see nothing in that video. You can't see shit. All you do is hear bullets. That's all you can hear. You can hear the bullets, but you don't know exactly where the gunman is, who got hit. So you really can't just trust this shit. And that's where I'm getting at. It's like we can't take things at face value and accept them for the truth. We have to dive deeper into these things for our own safety, for our own peace of mind. I think a
Right.
lot of people get comfortable with people that they trust, whose information they trust, and just accept everything that they say as law. And it's like that's where society is fucked up. We always want to look for somebody to save us and to give us all this information when we really need to do the research ourselves for us to really know what's going on. We're not saying any
Agreed.
of this stuff for y'all to just believe. Like, I don't want y'all to believe any fucking thing I have to say. I want you to go and dive deep and look it up because I did the same. And the people that taught me was doing the same. So each one teach one, man. Like I mean, if you have questions, feel free to ask any one of us up here, but please go do the research yourself so you can really see what makes sense to you and what doesn't. Because some people believe super hard in this certain thing, and maybe they did more research than me and Gion and Bree all together, right? More power to them. But look, it's all about your perception, right? It's all about how you view things and how you view your life. And if you think that right now CERN is the biggest thing that's, interrupting your life path and what you got going on, that's on you. But if you believe that, okay, I need to start focusing more on myself and what I need to do to focus to grow my spirit and my mind, then that's what you should focus on. Because I feel like a lot of people just want distractions. All this news and all this fear mongering, people want that shit. People love feeding themselves bullshit. So we have to really just start understanding that this shit is put in front of us for a reason. And that's like the last thing I got to say about it because I know we got to go back on in like an hour and a half. But
It kind of reminds me of like, well, a couple of things, but I'll just say in the sense of it's like, hey, worry about this right now, and it's like the 17th letter of the alphabet and how all that stuff was coming out, and they were like, oh, Obama's really locked up right now, this is his clone, and it's like you have no way of proving that. That's not to say clones don't exist. That's not to say they don't have that technology, but you're saying it as if it's a fact. And I want to know why the hell I see Obama sometimes on clips walking around free. He absolutely should be locked the fuck up, but he's not, from what I could see. Whether it's, you know what I mean, it's smoke and mirrors, who knows, whatever. But from what I can see, he's not locked the fuck up like he should be. So until I actually have some proof of that, then that's what I have to go off of. And that kind of brings me back to Sean's comment about the freedom fighters, and that whole movement it's just simply like, yo, only talk about what you know is provable. Because when you don't do that, you have too much belief, and we don't want to operate in belief. We want to operate in facts and truth. That's it. So what I'm saying, try to picture 100 meters down some shit that's colliding particles in this government facility that really you don't know shit about. Like, yeah, we can definitely assume that they are doing some stuff that maybe don't need to. And that was my point of bringing that. Yes, this with the particles, this with antimatter and dark matter, yada, yada, yada. But you just simply cannot prove. None of us are there.
Listen, I'm in a place where people can believe exactly what they want. And I mean that sincerely. Like, if you want to believe it, I say believe it. Go home. I mean, get a shirt with CERN. Like, just love it. I mean, I don't know. Like, just it is what it is for me. I just personally, I don't think so. And if it does happen, I know where I'm going. So
We're trying to
that's
say,
it. I mean,
is it possible that CERN can do all these things that everybody is saying? And it's like, if you understand particles, and then you understand what happens when particles collide, when you understand that this thing pushes out certain levels of radiation, that's where we get nuclear bombs. Okay, that's dealing with antimatter and dark matter and those types of things that they shouldn't be messing with. That, yes, we've seen nuclear bombs before. We know it's possible. Is it possible that they can open up portals or other dimensions? Yes, to a degree. When you're dealing with time, space, all this stuff in between, and particles, yes, you can. But what we're saying is that nobody on this live can actually prove that. And we can't
Yeah.
prove that. And we can also not prove that they're doing that right now or that is what they're doing necessarily. So what happens is you end up being called a conspiracy theorist and looking stupid because you're talking about something that you literally cannot prove. And we want to put out information that is valid. That's it. Because when you do start talking about that, then you start talking to the wrong people, and then you're saying, "Oh yeah, CERN is they're summoning demons," and it's like you just sound ridiculous. I mean, you know what I mean? That's not to say that they're absolutely not, but you just can't prove it, and you want to stick to
Right.
things that you can prove because that's the
I
valid
would think
information.
that that's more likely what they're doing because of like, would you just look at us? Would you just look at us? And that's so funny you said Y2K. I kept thinking that yesterday all day. I was like, how do I tell people this is Y2K 2.0? You know, it's like, I just kept thinking that in my head, but then I was like, people on Instagram, I'm a little bit older, so I was like, I'm going to say Y2K, and they're going to go, what? So I was like, I'll just leave it alone. But I definitely kept thinking about that, and as a believer, you know, I just prayed that we all, like me and all my friends and my family, like just be covered by God and make sure that we can just not be attacked by whatever happens. Like, I do believe in portals, like even without having a lot of information on them. Like, I've never been to like where the two things were in New York, but like I have no desire to go there because I feel like that's a portal to hell. That's got to be some kind of like demon portal. I've met people that have gone there, and I asked them, I'm like, you know, did you feel different? And every single person says, yeah. I know it's tied to a lot of like subconscious programming as well because of like the mass traumatic event that we all witnessed and stuff like that. So everybody has their own you know, kind of take on it. So you're already feeling these things while you're there. But like, for instance, like my sister, she was like, it's an undeniable feeling.
All right, guys.